gentlemen, keeping you on your toes already where they're just going to confuse you with the photographs behind them. Ladies and gentlemen, your excellencies, what an absolute pleasure to be here with you today at the Dubai Assembly for Generative AI. What a fantastic start we've had with our opening addresses and speeches. As we've heard, GenAI is rapidly becoming a transformative force across industries, heralding a new era of innovation, efficiency, and productivity. And in this session, we will discuss the impact on the workforce and the operating model of an organization, and what can be the adoption strategy. So as was introduced, I'm Jane Witherspoon. I'm the Bureau Chief for Euronews Middle East, and it's my pleasure to be on this panel with Stephen Anderson, Partner Middle East Strategy Leader at PwC, and on the end, Ali Hosseini, Chief Digital Officer, Partner, PwC Middle East. So before we deep dive, the gentlemen have a little something prepared for you, so over to you both.
Yeah, great. Maybe a quick intro.
Yes,
just
absolutely.
To kick us off. We'll just kick off with a quick. So thanks, Jane, for that introduction. Stephen Anderson, been with the firm for PwC for the last 28 years. 31 years ago, as part of my maths degree, I did a module on neural networks. And I'll be very open and say I almost flunked it and felt that would be a really important thing to get into. Roll forward after time in London, New York on global roles, now here in the region as the strategy leader. My role is looking at what's the cutting edge technology that's out there that we can take to market and change the way we work. I set up 8 years ago here in Dubai an MTech team. Specifically looking at disrupting what we're doing and pulling all these things together. So we've been working in AI for quite some time. And I think I'll say, in that career, having gone through the Asian crisis, the dot-com boom, the global financial crisis, the oil crash here, the promise of MTech for many years, and then COVID, I think I'd make the point that this GenAI and the promise of AGI is without a doubt the most disruptive thing I've seen in my career. We predicted 6 years ago that it would have a $15 trillion impact on the economy. Wow. As always, when you think these things go out, actually I think we underestimated it, and this is now happening here today. Ali.
Thank you, Steve. I've got a different background to Steve, so I actually study software engineering and image processing, which is probably the first generation of kind of AI 2 decades ago, actually. And currently in the firm, I lead the digital and technology, and recently basically started the whole GenAI Center of Excellence, and currently leading the transformation for our firm here in the Middle East, and helping customers as well.
Fantastic. So what we thought we'd do, Jane, as you said, I guess I'll make the point that robots and AI may not replace humans straight away, yet.
As an MC, I've been replaced already, so I'm out of a job after this.
That's right. I also have an avatar of myself that might be replacing me as well at the team that we're working on. I will just say, so what we thought we'd do, rather than talk about it, how this may happen, is actually let's get in and actually demo it and see it in action. What Ali and I did for our team, obviously we work a lot with many clients, and we could show you lots of different things, but we thought, how do we best bring this to life? Everything you see in this session is available today. It can happen today. It's all the tools that work today. We said to our team, we want to kind of go to market during a panel.
Sure.
Okay, can we go to market during a panel? If we have an idea, can we change this idea and go to market during the panel? Now, typically on a go-to-market strategy, and we said we want to launch an EV company, an EV rental company in Dubai. Okay, so typically when you do that, we'll go through a 3-phase process. So we'll go through the imagine phase, where we'll think about what the business strategy is, do a market assessment, think about what the value proposition is in the first phase. That might take us a few days, a few weeks to pull together. Secondly, we'll then get into design. So we might want to design the product, think about what the website might look like, think about the social media assets, think about the marketing campaign, think about the launch. And then we'll get into a build phase, well, then, obviously that would take a few more months around building the stack, etc. So we set ourselves a little task of, rather than talking about this for a long time, why don't we see that in action? I'm going to pass to Ali, and he's going to take you through how we can go to market in about 16, 17 minutes.
16, 17 minutes. We picked
15 minutes.
Absolutely. Thank you. Actually, all of the tools and most of the video that we've done is for the things that are available today. So this is not the futuristic sort of aspect of it. Reality is, if you want to do this work, when you're talking about the imagine, design, and build, it's going to go anything from days to weeks to months. And the whole idea is how we can actually use a set of tools and using prompts, English prompt, which is probably the most important communication or language today with the machines. Okay, so the first is actually, I'm going to stand up. It's much easier this way. To use a tool, which is a board mix, to basically put a prompt and say, I want to set up a rental company, car rental company, and please tell me all this stuff that I need to think of up front. Right? And it's just a prompt, and it gives me the list of everything in terms of the planning, designing, and the implementation, all the assessment. I mean, the tool is great. You can click and it tells you a lot about it. But now I've got an idea in terms of where I need to start. Okay, then I'm going to use ChatGPT, and I'm trying to do some market research. I actually say, okay, well, tell me about my competition. Who are the top 10? What's the market size? What kind of offering? And the different revenue streams that I'm going to have. Okay, so there was a concern about ChatGPT data not being basically updated, but with the new plugins that they're putting a few weeks back, that is Bing, it gives you a full assessment, and it also gives you the reference point in terms of where you got that data in the internet. So this has changed significantly.
So Ali, just do basically with 2 prompts. So the first one, you obviously use board mix on that first piece, and that sets up basically what do I need to do to pull a strategy together. Yep. Bang, it's told you. And then you've come on and said, right, I want to understand the market assessment. ChatGPT, Bing with its new plugin. Bang, you've got a market assessment.
Yeah, it's got all the data. I've done the work of lots of analysts, and I give you the data in that plane. I mean, the other one that we ask is basically, give us the pricing that it's being offered by the competition. So if I want to go to market, what should be the entry point from the pricing perspective? So it does all the analysis and give me the list, and it said this is what it is. I mean, if you want to do this work yourself, it's going to take weeks. And we're not talking about a massive amount of, let's say, we're talking about massive amount of data being processed and with purely a prompt. So to do the price analysis, right? Let's say we wanted to build an investor pitch because we want to raise some fund. Okay, so we use another tool called Gamma. You go there, you pick a presentation that you want, you give it a topic, which area we wanted to cover, introduction, value proposition of the electric vehicle, car rental versus traditional car rental, the customer experience because I want to do it on mobile and web, marketing strategy, choose a template that I liked, and bang, it's doing the presentation for me. Now, one of the things that people ask is, okay, is it a finished product? No, it's not. It's always a good starting point that you wanted to take it to the next level. But the reality is, if I don't know anything, now I can actually be a strategist, market analyst, a consultant, and putting PowerPoint together now, but it basically exported to PowerPoint, and I can edit it, update it, do whatever I wanted it with a good quality, right?
So Ali, just to be clear, you've just created a full investor deck with 1 prompt. Yeah?
Yes.
No fudging of that? Nothing going on behind the scenes?
Nothing. No, basically this is pretty much what we got with 1 prompt. Now, I want the logo, I want some digital asset for my social media, I use Midjourneys, get the logo that I want, the original, and then basically I go to Leonardo.ai, generating a whole bunch of basically digital asset that I want to put on my Instagram. And later, what I need is a kind of a promotional video, right? So I know some of this might not be perfect, but you can choose what you like, and you can just prompt it to make it better what it is. I mean, we keep this scenario very high level, but now the video, in few minutes, I'm going to have a video that I can actually use it for my startup. The next,
So Ali, just stop back on that one. So you basically created the brand.
yeah,
You've then straight away then gone into the marketing campaign and produced a video from 3 apps.
3 apps.
2
I can
prompts.
be a creative designer or the marketing consultant, right?
Yeah.
The next one is I want to design a user interface for my web application and a mobile application, right? I use the tool, which is called UseArt. These tools are just 2-3 months old, okay? So they got better and better. They're getting better and better. But I go and actually generate a user interface for my web tool. So it gives me all the assets. I can export it to the tools like Figma, and the development team can start using it for development. And then I can see the mobile version of the same design, right? These work is usually going to take, I mean, we're talking about days, if it's not weeks. But I just got to do the prompt in literally 20 minutes. Okay? And it gives me the starting point of the design of the tool that I want, right? This project is an open source project called ChatDev. The concept behind it is the interaction between different large language models. So you got your entire software development company in hand. So basically you got your CEO that basically requests a specific product, and you got the CTO doing a design. It goes with the chief product officer to the analyst. They come up with the different business requirement, and they go to the different developers are actually building the code for you. The reason this is important actually for me as a concept is when you get these tools to talk to each other, you will get a lot better sort of output. Okay, so the output of ChatDev, it's probably it's not something you can run. It's about 60-70% done, so you can actually still need to go and enhance it. But the idea behind it is actually the multi-agent, so when you get these tools to talk to each other, and I think this is pretty powerful when we're talking about the output. I think that is pretty much the one of the last slide we have. The last slide, and I think just
before you get into that, Ali, because Ali just races through and shows all these things pretty quickly. So
make sure we are in time.
I know you're doing a really good job on time. Just to step back for 1 second. Just so everyone can see what's happened there. So you've come up with, the first thing you did was say, right, I want to set up this new company. What are all the things that I need to put together to get to there? Bang,
yep.
That's done.
Absolutely.
You've then worked out the market analysis. You've then worked out the pricing. You've then gone from that into putting together the marketing campaign and the positioning. You've done an investor deck. And then we've started using the multi-deck, the multi-agent piece here to pull together a full suite of technology that sits behind it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess when we look at what's behind this, let's say a little demo is, if I don't have the skills to do some of these or any of these with a set of tools, I can be a developer, I can be a graphic designer, I can be a marketing strategist. The amount of time that is potentially going to save from the day-to-day tasks that we do. And I think this is probably the starting point of what we see from GenAI. Yeah. The tools like copilots and the tools that we augment until the time that we can actually talk to the machine, so we don't even need to type. Right? And this is all coming.
Okay.
And there's lots of discussion about AGI. Right? So what's currently limiting these models is about the speed. So we know that they're going to run faster soon. The amount of memory, they got a pretty bad memory. So we know the context window, it's going to increase, and there is lots of research and work being done on that. They become more knowledgeable, they're going to get trained on more data and parameters. They're working together. We already saw and part of the ChatDev project that we can get multiple agents to impersonate and actually check each other works. Then I think going back to the presentation in the morning, so the ability to do things, which is executing tasks, sending email, do the booking, book your flights, generate reports, and then run autonomously. So when you actually get this to run autonomously, to give them a task, and it will go and put the whole things together, then you will actually see the major impact. And we are not really far from it. I think we're not talking about years and years to come. It's probably about 18 to 24 months we will actually see some of the tools that are actually coming in this context.
Yes, I mean, most of those tools you showed are in the last three months or so.
3-4 months.
We see this speeding up as each of these things get stronger and stronger. And we kept talking about AGI being 3, 4, 5 years away, potentially a lot sooner.
Yeah, we probably see there's some level of AGIs. I think at this point of time there is a level of trust of how we're going to get these to be fully autonomous.
Yeah.
You probably see semi-autonomous agents and semi-autonomous product coming in. Then when the full model being built in terms of safety and security, then we actually see autonomous in certain tasks.
Perfect.
Can I just interject here a little bit and ask, you mentioned timeline there, but when will we see the impact on business? When will we see this actually start to happening? As you mentioned, some of the programs are, in the last 3 months, they've just come on board. So
You want to take
Come
that
on,
one?
again, fine, some
The-
questions.
I think we start, basically, we get lots of requests by the clients like asking us to go and help them. And usually when the client asks us, they want us to start from the ideation, right? So this is our business. What do you think AI can do for us, okay? And we look at it from a number of different areas. We call it the 3 level of adoption. So AI augmentation, AI automation, and AI at core. Most of the use cases are simple use cases today and start AI adoption. All of our customers wants to basically get it out and actually going through what I call the experimental model. So investing in AI, doing some basically training and enablement and testing these big, small use cases, then they go to basically taking a business process or let's say one part of basically the organization and trying to automate it. I think we are about 18 to 24 months to get to that point because the tools need to get to that level of maturity to support it. And AI at core, it is probably something past 3-4 years. It's hard to say what's going to happen past 3 years with the speed of this technology being developing. But the impact is actually being felt today.
I mean, it's amazing what you've been able to do in that short time frame just to illustrate, what is happening now. Why is there a need for transparency, though, within business and using the AI technology?
I mean, Steve, you want to take that, or
Maybe talk a bit about the risks and the.
Yeah, I think when these tools have some limitation in terms of the data that they give you, are they factual or not? There is a level of hallucination with some of the answers. So that is number one. They're biased based on the data they've been trained, so they can actually picture something that is not necessarily correct. Okay. The education or the level of learning that we need to have in terms of data privacy and what kind of data we can share with them or not. And when you put few of these together, you kind of realize, and also the level of trust of, okay, would this tool replace me as what I do, right? I think when you put all these risks together, you just need a framework to work with it. And basically there is a level of education in terms of what you can do with these tools and how you can trust the output of some of these tools and the limitation that I have today. And the second one is how can I transform myself to basically be more productive using tools and doing things that I cannot do today. I don't have the skills, okay? The level of transparency, I think we heard it also in the morning. There is no way to avoid this. This is probably a greatest opportunity to leapfrog as, let's say, a country or a nation to build the skills in that area. We already seen UAE and Dubai done fantastic stuff when it's coming to the investment on the technology. And I think GenAI specifically, and actually the appetite for adoption for the tech.
I mean, you mentioned that, we are pioneers here in the UAE and embracing this technology. When we talk about new entrants and open source community leading the space, can you give us some examples how that is working here? And in particular, I think Falcon and the work.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just talk about the UAE more generally,
Yeah.
because I mean, I mentioned setting up the MTech team here and all the things that Ali does. This is a genuine world player in this area. We're seeing within our own firm that many innovations are coming out of this part of the world. We ran a session last week. We had Matt Berman come along, who's one of the sort of premier YouTubers, if you like, in this space. A little plug for Matt. He's fantastic in terms of getting yourself up to speed. Now, when we asked Matt the question about models, he said, actually, one of my favorite open source models is Falcon. Developed here in the UAE with TII, a phenomenal model. He said this is at the leading edge, it's competing, it's genuinely there. You go more broadly than that and you look at when we talked about that exponential change, if there's one part of the world that's used to exponential change, I mean, look at Dubai, it's here. You know, we're going through this sort of decarbonisation, digitisation, privatisation, modernisation, localisation. So that, if you like, attitude is very strong as well. I think Dubai taxis, there's a autonomous vehicle making its way around Dubai today. The UAE government was one of the first to put a front-end ChatGPT on the website, which obviously OpenAI, Microsoft, our friend over there, and Ali were heavily involved in. So I think it's a really exciting time in GenAI, and it's a really exciting time, particularly here in the UAE. We're very excited about it.
We're all worried for our jobs, clearly, as I mentioned earlier, only joking. But, you know, that is a legitimate challenge that keeps getting raised. You know, where do we stand? You know, what impact will it have on the workforce? And will it be replacing jobs? What will happen to the people?
Maybe I'll start with that one, and then Ali, you jump in. I think on the AI replacing humans, I think what we're seeing at the minute is that's not happening today. What's happening is that humans with AI are going to replace humans. So if you're using those tools that Ali took you through, you are differentiating yourself straight away in the market in terms of your value. So you'll see that wave. I think the big wave on GenAI, when we looked at AI back in, when I mentioned the report we did about 6-7 years ago, it focused on manual tasks, and it was a kind of a bottom-up. So we thought AI will take away many of the menial manual tasks that will happen. I think what's been really interesting in the last year is it's gone top-down. I mean, we just showed you how to do a consulting project using GenAI. It's creativity that's being disrupted first, and I don't think anybody predicted that in terms of the impact there. So I think that flips the equation around a bit. I think the most important thing is the jobs that will come will be powered by AI. They'll just be different jobs.
How can we demystify what it can and cannot actually do? You know, how much of this is media hype?
Well, look, I think you cannot compare something like GenAI with the other or previous kind of, let's say, vertical kind of tech that came out, like, for example, let's say metaverse and stuff like that. I think I saw lots of people comparing GenAI to the evolution of internet or basically mobile computing. For sure, it's going to touch every aspect of what we do. Going back to what Steve mentioned, I mean, we were thinking about, look, the impact itself, right? So today, you're going to have a model that you can just talk to and it give you some information. This is going to come to the point that these models or this application, which is a GenAI application, can actually do lots of the tasks that we do today. Like, you know, I'm talking about organizing meeting, basically sending email. We saw it in Copilot. But the reality is the change is going to be in every layer. Change in all the industry, and also change in some of the things that you're going to do. An example of that is I was thinking, when I initially look at this, like about March, I was thinking, okay, I always give my children the advice that, you know, if you become a computer engineer or a developer, you got a job for life, because it's so complicated that there is always a demand for it. After that, I was thinking, look, what's going to happen? Because that job is probably not going to be as safe, and that skill is probably not going to be as relevant as it is today. But the reality is, then after some thinking, I said, look, there are going to be a whole bunch of different skills required that we do not have today because the technology is not available. And that can be basically from anything from prompt engineering to more around analytics and the mathematics. So there's going to be a whole bunch of new career created as a result of that. So that's not necessarily going to create less jobs, but I mean, it's creating probably people with a different capability of adopting AI to do the work, okay? And I think the other aspect of that is the transformation. So transformation is going to come in two dimensions. One itself and the workforce, and the other one is basically a backbone of the, let's say, the organization or government and how they service the citizen or the client.
I mean, the advancement of the technology, the time frame, I mean, we're almost playing catch up because it is going so quickly. How do we keep up with it? And what are your thoughts? You mentioned your children, you know, they're the next generation. You know, you give a kid an iPad now and they swipe through. My children are better at technology than I am. So, you know, what do you think the future holds for them?
I'll take one on that. Just on how to get yourself up to speed. I mean, this is moving so quick. Yeah. I mean, I think we've got Tom in the audience somewhere. He's going to do a session with us this afternoon, one of the leading model experts anywhere in the world. But Tom's probably only been at this for a year. You know, just he's dove into it, used his capabilities. This is happening so quickly. Yeah. So the thing that Ali and I look for most in our team is enthusiasm and wanting to learn. Because, you know, those tools we showed you have only been around for 3 weeks, some of them. You know, how quickly do you need to be able to adapt, and how quickly do you need to be able to get in? I think the most important thing is enthusiasm, and actually just getting involved, testing the things out, making it happen. And that's certainly, and you know, my kids are way ahead of me on lots of this stuff already.
Ali, anything to add on?
I guess, I mean, Steve covered it well. First of all, this is real. It's happening. Yeah. It is workable. You can use it for the small, basically, task today. But as we see, this is going to grow, and all of these are going to start working together at some stage. I think the earlier that you jump at it and learn, basically, it's going to be much easier to adopt. Okay. Look, and I think that this will again touch all the aspects of what we do.
There's no doubt it's going to transform the world as we know it. How important is it for government advisory within the AI sphere?
Look, I mean, first of all, I think the way UAE is structured and approach this is probably something for other government to learn from, right? Yeah. A few months ago, when we were talking about the project that we did with the Prime Minister Office in UAE, I think they were the first government entity, or let's say first government that are actually willing to adopt this. And we know this through the network because many of our other part of PwC from other countries actually reach out to us and asking, how did you do it? What did you do it? Was it easy to convince? And so we kind of leading in that space, and we are lucky enough to be in the basically the region and also in a country that actually have an appetite for those kind of investment and adoption. I think it's very important. This can be a significant, as I said, a step to leapfrog on some of the areas that we were probably we didn't do as best as some of the others. I think this would change the way we're providing service to citizens. This would change the way that the government operate as a whole. And with all the elements of the basically data, the integration, the experience, and the foundation capability, that would basically be a next basic generation of the government service, as I said.
Stephen, you mentioned one of the things you look for. We've got 1 minute left on the clock, so very quickly.
Quick answers,
you talked about looking for enthusiasm and excitement. What are you most excited about when it comes to generative AI in the next 5 years?
5 years. So the quick one, I got a little glimpse of GPT Vision this week, and seeing some of the literally the AI, you could put a vision. I'll show you quick, two seconds. 20 seconds. So it showed a pint glass half full. Yeah. And says, what do you think about that? And from the pint, just looking at the pint glass, it said, This is an idea of the idiom about a glass being half full or half empty. And you think of the intellect required to look at a vision and to turn that into that kind of phrase is just amazing. And the harnessing the power, I think I'd agree with His Excellency. I'm most excited about what technology and AI can do for the big challenge facing the world around sustainability. And I think the only way we're going to get through the sustainability challenge, the climate change challenge, is through tech. And maybe that's a way we could get there.
Bang on time. We're out of time. But Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for our first panel, being a fantastic audience.
Thank you.
Thank you.